Yeah, let's clap it. Effective.
I don't need a mic stand.
Yeah, alright, buddy. Oh my god. I've got some great things in mind.
Yeah, I got a few ideas.
Hello and welcome to the City Witch podcast. I'm City.
And I'm Witch. So, I love that. I really wish we'd ran more with that last week. The City and Witch podcast.
Well, you know, at least YouTube's going to get it right now on the auto-translate.
You know it won't. It's going to correct it back to City and... City.
Oh,
no!
It's the one time you've said rich. Alright. So, let's get into this. What have I missed out on this week from the amazing Rich Mighty?
That's a good question. Let me pull up my notes file, because I'm organised.
Prepared?
But not prepared enough to have it already pulled up. Can't remember my week unless I write it down anymore. I've become dependent on these notes, Sid. You don't understand.
Sir, can I ask you your name? Oh, damn, I never say this bit.
Shit, I haven't spoken about that on the podcast for a few weeks. Let me find it. Well, I had my car MOT today. You know, I'm going to kick things off in a fast lane. I had my car MOT today and it passed. So that's good. That's cool.
Good, man. I've got mine coming up soon, obviously, because we bought cars at the same time.
We did one of our many joint financial decisions.
There was no luxury in it for either of us, though, because our cars just broke down at the same time.
That's true, yeah.
It was just our cars made the joint decision to commit suicide.
In fact, our cars couldn't more accurately represent us as people as well. So I have a Mini Cooper Clubman. It's a very small, little, nippy little thing. And then what do you have, Sid?
Land Rover, Freelander 2. To be fair, it's not the biggest Land Rover, so...
You're not the biggest Sid.
I'm a pretty big Sid.
You're a pretty big Sid.
But yeah, so MOT went.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, so... Yeah, so it passed its MOT, and the guy doing who was charging me accidentally pushed 0 instead of 9 and was like, well, looks like I'm only charging you 90p instead of 99p for this one. So that's some money in my pocket. Oh, what's that segue? Speaking of money in my pocket, you know how about a month ago I drowned in the harbour trying to catch the GameStop's boat?
Yeah.
Made a resurgence this morning.
Oh, nice.
It's back up, buddy. Well, it's not back up. It's nowhere near close to back up.
Are you break even on it at least?
If it doubles its current price, I'm almost break even. But it's still up 200%. Which goes to show how poor of a financial investment I made, but that there is hope.
Oh, buddy.
Caught it last night about 11:30, and it was just randomly in the last hour of trading up 100%. So I checked the aftermarket, and it was up another 80% in the aftermarket. And then I checked this morning, and it was up 220% at open. I was like, "What's going? Don't give me hope." Like, I just resigned myself to having these useless, worth nothing stocks.
Pass them on to Ollie.
Yeah, exactly. These were my deathbed stocks, you know, and now I don't know how to feel. Yeah.
Wonderful.
What about yourself then, bud? How have you been?
I'm just trying to think what I've done this week. I went back to work this week, so I didn't take paternity. I just took my annual leave for a week.
Really?
And then just went back. Yeah, I've been back at work.
How come you didn't take paternity?
Saoirse started settling really well, like towards the back end of last week. She's getting like 4 hours between feeds, sleeping really well, not grumbling much, gets up, has a feed, goes back down, and I'm just not fucking needed, buddy. Like, by Sunday I was like pulling my hair out. I was like, I need to do something. So it seemed superfluous and unnecessary to spend time off work. No, it's been good to just sort of get back into a normal routine again.
That's really good. Nice.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it kind of sucks you didn't use your paternity. I guess you can't like transfer it to anything, right? You can't just put it into annual leave down the road.
No.
It's good that you didn't need to, and I'm glad she's really. Sorry, Angela's FaceTiming me.
Well, she's not going to be a guest on the podcast.
What's up?
They can't actually see me because it's dark.
No, kind of defeats the point of FaceTiming, really, if I can't see you.
That's just a phone call.
See it, but I have a ring on my finger.
Well,
Why'd you have a ring on your finger?
Adam proposed to me.
Congratulations.
oh man, poor dude.
Well done. That's what.
FaceTiming Sid.
Pardon?
Are you FaceTiming Sid doing your podcast?
I'm literally recording the podcast right now.
It's not going into the edit though. Don't worry.
Hi Sid.
Can I put it in the edit?
No.
Can I just keep this in?
Yes, you can.
Adam says yes. I'll take it. He proposed. He's decided.
Congratulations, Adam. You've bought yourself a lifetime of problems.
But you already knew that.
I agree.
That's awesome. No, congratulations, guys.
I'm overwhelmed with enthusiasm for both of you.
Sid, you're just sitting the podcast. I'm not cutting this.
Thank you.
Right, I'll ring you later. But yeah, congratulations, guys. Like, that's awesome.
you.
That's the sort of clickbait this podcast desperately needed. So I really
One of us
appreciate
got engaged, and it's none of us.
Right, love you both. See you later.
Bye.
Well, that was different.
Yeah, it was an interesting interruption.
Yeah, there's no downside to putting this in the podcast because nobody listens to it.
All marital Hamer situations go through our YouTube, and they always end
That's
up
true.
really, really well.
Where were we? You was talking about paternity.
Oh, I was talking like about my update, like what my week's been like. So this week with work, there's not been a lot to talk about. Couple of talking points. I mean, yesterday I went up to the office for the first time in a long time, and as a result ended up inundated with like work, and when people see you they tend to remember things they were supposed to email you literally months ago, and all of a sudden you have work to do that you didn't intend on doing. So I got none of the work done that I planned for yesterday. It was really busy, and there was a lot of like social interaction, and more people knew that I was having a kid. I don't talk to anyone about that sort of stuff, so it was almost probably just people saying, oh, he's off at the minute because he's just had a kid, and they're gone, you never told us. I'm like, well, there's no surprise. I don't talk to people about that sort of stuff. That stuff's private. I basically ended up with a migraine and a headache just from pure social interaction overload. On top of that, I've also ordered everything I need to rearrange the kids' bedroom. So that's my project for the weekend, is getting Emily and Patrick's bedroom sorted out. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that because it just means we're a bit more organised in the house, and Emily's been in princess bed for just a little bit too long now. When you come over next, you perhaps won't have to sleep in that princess bed anymore.
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Do you want me to drop it off at yours?
If I can't get bladdered out my face at yours and wake up feeling like a pretty princess, I don't know why.
Oh, buddy, I'll make sure you feel like a pretty princess, don't worry.
Cheers, bud.
Yeah, that's my week in a nutshell. Obviously, I've done other bits and bobs, but most of it's sort of transferred over to topics I want to discuss anyway. So,
Yeah.
as a general update, baby, work, bedroom. There's not much more to it.
No, that's fair. Yeah, that's something actually. Yeah, I did the editing this week for the first time, and it was great. I loved it. I look forward to doing it again.
What are you doing this week, Gus?
Yeah.
Baby still be baby. And also, to be fair, I just flat out enjoyed listening to it as an actual podcast for the first time.
I'm really glad you could get that fresh perspective on it. And something I was a bit worried about was obviously listening to the same conversations over and over again. I thought it would sort of get quite repetitive, when you sort of know everything that's going to be said, but it just gets funnier and funnier every time I listen to the same jokes over and over. It's like the more I'm anticipating the punchline, the funnier it is.
I always say to Rosie when I'm editing back, it's funny how much I enjoy your sense of humour, even though I've heard it over and over again.
Like, I don't know about you, but one of the things I noticed, because when you're literally just listening to audio of yourselves talk for hours, you pick up on every little mannerism and everything that you don't notice when you're talking. So right now, I'm not going to be aware of any of the things that I am, when I edit this, going to be very blatantly aware of. Like, for instance, I stutter so much more than I ever thought I stutter. I never realised how much I stutter before. And something I never realised you do is you take really long pauses between words almost randomly. And I never noticed it. It's just always felt like we've had the most fluent radio talk show conversation ever, and I'm listening back to it like, it's just a lot of subconscious empty space.
No, I mean, I think I've said to you before, I do mostly try to plan my sentences and put the words in right. So every now and then there is need to just assess something before it dribbles out my mouth.
Yeah, I like to sort of almost pre-plan certain sentences in my head just before I say them to make sure I'm articulating them properly. Certainly if it's going out to somebody who doesn't speak fluent Richard Sid.
There's some people that do listen, apparently. I spoke to Tony this week.
Yes.
He gave me a call and told me I was a fucking amateur, so...
Yeah, he introduced himself on the Discord now. He's like, "What's up, you bunch of amateurs?" Oh no, it's all right. We'll just keep chatting shit about him every week to keep him hooked.
Yeah, that's it. That's how we keep Tony in, just by just subtly talking about him, or not so subtly talking about him. Just keep that one subscriber.
Yeah, I like the idea of our marketing strategy, just to be like, yeah, we chatted shit about you on the podcast. You got to listen to it though if you want to know what we said.
And in response to that, Elon Musk this week, right? There's this school of thought where, like, a lot of mankind's efforts, like winning the Super Bowl, all these big dreams that have are just like immortality projects,
Yeah.
Like building the pyramids, or creating a fantastic piece of art. Like, it's just an immortality project. It's a way to prolong your impact on the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was thinking, is this our immortality project? Like, is this what we're leaving? Because I'm not sure what value it's got.
Oh, it's got value to us and those around us, right? That's, to me, yeah, it is something like this is exactly what I'd want to leave in the world. Something sentimental. There's no real value in this in terms of, nobody's going to learn anything from this. Scholars aren't going to be studying this centuries down the line.
Just a word. If you're listening right now trying to study civilization, go elsewhere. There has to be more resources.
I like the idea that we became so huge. We were a landmark in human evolution. Honestly, the biggest, greatest thing that could ever happen from this is if it reached grandkids, right? Like, if generations after I'm gone are able to listen to it and enjoy this, then that is perfect for me. That's because then it's outlived me. It's transcended just me being here. Because obviously this isn't going to last forever and stuff like that. So
yeah,
just the very idea of it reaching the generation beyond mine is good enough for me.
I think it'd be nice as well if, like, the kids, when they get old enough, we're not going to be as cool to them as we clearly are to each other, but but it'd be interesting if Patrick and, like, Ollie and they sat and they listened to it and they were, gained a little bit more insight into sort of how their dads...
Exactly. Like, I'd kill to have... If my parents had something like this, if my dad suddenly dug out a bunch of archive footage from him growing up, I'd love that. I would absolutely love that. It'd be a great weekend, just sitting and just watching my dad at my age, like my mum at my age. Like, that would be amazing. So hopefully this isn't something that's taken for granted in this generation because of how easy it is to document everything nowadays. And yeah, I said from the start, everything I say on this podcast is as if Oliver's listening. Like, this is or any future kids or anything like that. This is sort of, I wouldn't say anything here that I wouldn't want them to hear, and
Yeah.
I say this with the full intention of, when they are old enough, letting them just sit back and watch it, right? Like, it's a time capsule. That's what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love the idea that all of our kids think that we're lame as anything, but like idolise the other person. So like, Ollie thinks you're like the greatest uncle in the world, but I'm a lame ass dad. But then Paddy thinks I'm the greatest uncle in the world. And you're a lame ass.
coming round.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
Like, they don't argue over who's the best dad, they argue over who's the best uncle. Fighting in the wrong corner.
Yeah, your dad could beat my dad.
What?
One thing that actually should bring back some PTSD for you, as I started playing Fortnite with Rosie and Emily quite a bit.
No.
They had the snipers only mode back. You know, the one mode that we actually enjoyed.
Yeah, the one time we had unironic fun during that, that game.
It was mega. I was getting like 300-meter kills and just like coming out of nowhere. I won a game on a 200-meter kill. It's the only time I've had fun playing that game is snipers only. It's definitely a good way of playing the game.
I'm not playing Fortnite ever again.
There is something to be said about the fact like Emily really enjoys it and Emily plays it a lot.
Yeah.
And like, you know, she's because she lives with her mum half the time and with me half the time when she's not here. I can have a lot of like conversations with my kid by just jumping on Fortnite and playing with her. And like, there's a bit of value in that for me. Like, that's, you know, even though the game is not good, I can't put it any clearer. It's a terrible game.
But when it becomes a medium for quality time with your kid, it doesn't matter what it is, right?
Yeah, and it's you know, it's one of the nice things about the internet. Like, she can sort of be in the room without being in the room, which is great. We haven't touched any topics. We have just rambled for like 27 minutes.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm going to start with one thing. One of the big things I wanted to sort of just like tick off. Did you actually watch the Nintendo Direct?
No, but
okay.
I'm aware of it.
Okay. I'm gonna come out with my opinion of it, and then I'll do, if you want, some breakdowns of my reasonings for it.
Yeah, and then I'll share mine, because I do have opinions of it. So.
Okay, good. I think it was the worst Direct ever. I think it was, in a time when they need a reason for people to go out and buy Switches, they didn't provide any reason for people to do that.
Fair.
We are not getting new intellectual properties. We are constantly getting recycled content, and it's getting to a point where it's like, we're not getting Breath of the Wild 2. We're not going to give you the new IP.
Well, that's not a fresh IP. That is a recycled thing,
okay,
right?
Well, it's a recycled IP, but it's in terms of its storyline will be fresh intellectual property. It's you know, the wrapper's the same, but if it's got new innards, then it's worth eating, right?
Yeah.
So, but giving us Skyward Sword, it's just like, seems like a kick in the teeth.
For 60 quid when it's already on the Wii U for like 20. Nobody's asking for this.
It's not even a good game.
And not even that, but this is following like a month after Mario had its 3 main titles bundled into one beautiful package for the same anniversary, for kind of like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, because you got one then from every generation, ain't you?
Yeah.
I'd take that. I'd pay for that. I'd pay 60 quid for that, you know.
Like, they must be aware that nobody was excited for Skyward Sword. Nobody wants to play Skyward Sword. Just because only 12 people bought the Wii U doesn't mean that people are missing out on Skyward Sword.
Yeah, it's not a rare gem that's been undiscovered.
No. I was one of the 12 people, and I still didn't get Skyward Sword.
Okay, so I went through it, like, there wasn't many new games. Mario Golf, I could see myself playing. I genuinely could see myself playing Mario Golf. But that's because, if you remember, like, we had a lot of fun playing the old Mario Golf on the Switch one night.
Were we drinking heavily?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, I freaking love golf games when I'm drinking.
I'd buy it for that reason alone. I'd buy it for just me and you multiplayer stupidity. Like, I'd buy it just for that, you know. So that was a highlight. The Outer Wilds thing, which kind of looks a little bit like No Man's Sky meets Mario Galaxy.
Yes. Has that game not been out on the PC for quite a while now?
It's already out. Yeah, they're bringing it to Switch, and so this is one of the points of getting. It's like we're not getting new content. We're just getting ports essentially.
I'm not against massive titles, or at least like very well received titles being ported over to the Switch. Like there's a certain list of games I would love to see on the Switch, but I would definitely prefer new games.
Something new.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you know tonight, there's a State of Play, which is the PlayStation Direct type thing, which I'll be watching as well, because I think they need to do some work. You know, like I said before, I'm still playing Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm still playing like Gran Turismo Sport. Don't think I'm playing a single new game, it's just absurd when we've got a new generation out. This is a big point that kind of annoyed me about it. It seems like everyone's going, oh, Fortnite works, let's take a cookie cutter, let's make a dodgeball Fortnite. Even so much as like the art style's similar, and you know, like Fortnite Dodgeball was one of them. The Star Wars Battle Royale thing that they teased but didn't show a single thing about. It's a cash grab, and it's like it seems a little bit condescending to your players. Like if you're going to play Battle Royale, there is a Battle Royale game. It exists. It's free to play. You won't. Why would you spend money on something else, especially as there's not going to be a massive player base, because everyone's still going to stick to Fortnite because they've had more time working at it.
Didn't they also tease new Smash character reveals, only for them to end up being more generic JRPG people? Yeah,
this is the thing as well. I thought they were going to do a Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I thought that's what they were teasing. I've not played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Usually, I tend not to play games that reviewers I trust say are garbage, because it's wasting my money, you know.
Yeah.
And Wood from Beat 'em Up absolutely panned Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and his logic and reasoning for panning it, I would get very annoyed at that. So I was like, right, I trust this dude, I'm not going to spend my money here. So when I saw that, I was like, because I desperately want to try a JRPG, because I've never really played one. So I'm like, right, okay, when they're doing this, I'm like, maybe they've fix some and address some of these problems, and then it's a Smash reveal, and it's like, it's not even a new game, is it? You're just launching a character, and they cost money. Like it's not good. I don't think it'll drive their bottom line at all this year. That Direct.
As I say, I didn't watch it, but I sort of read the bullet points, and none of them were exciting.
There was one that I thought of you when I saw it, and I forget the name, so I'm being useless. It was a card-based FPS, so you're sort of like running through this environment, picking up cards, and those cards allow you to do damage and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, which likes card-based mechanics? But even then, it was like, well, I don't know if you've ever played Mirror's Edge.
Yes, I've played Mirror's Edge.
It was Mirror's Edge with cards.
Yeah, it feels like pizza with ice cream. I'd rather keep them separate and enjoy them on their own.
Yeah. Well, you know, Slay the Spire was a card-based game that worked.
Slay the Spire is probably the reason I'll never look at another card game on the Switch. Why would I? I've got Slay the Spire. I've still not completed Slay the Spire, so why would I look at another card game? Like, I freaking love that game.
All right, I've got other topics, but have you got anything you want to...
I was just going to piggyback on the games announcement topic. Well, BlizzCon has been on the last week, and I mean, it'll mean nothing to you, but you'll probably have a decent idea of what it means to me. But they're remastering Diablo 2. They've remade from the ground up my childhood game.
All right.
We knew they were doing it, but they'd never made any official statement on it until BlizzCon.
So how long have we got left until you're not able to do the podcast anymore?
About a year.
All right,
about a year and a half. It's Blizzard, so about 7 years. But
it's never coming.
Yeah, they've said 2021, and they actually showed gameplay of it, and it like transitioned from like the old game to what it now looks like. And
I'm guessing the core gameplay and the mechanics have not changed at all, though, right?
Actually, I'll preface this. It's worth mentioning the original code of the game was lost. The source code to the original game was lost, and David Brevik, the creator of the original game, said it is basically impossible to remaster. Like, it just can't be done. We don't have the code. You would be building the game from the ground up, and so many parts of that game that make it what it is are because it was built in such an old engine and in a time where things had to behave in certain ways, maybe character AI, drop charts, like all of these had to behave in certain ways for it to feel how it is, which you just couldn't do now. But despite this, they've done it, and they've said that all the monsters, the drop tables, the items, everything that is not aesthetic in the game will be exactly how it was back in 1999 when the game released. The only things we've added that aren't aesthetic are like quality of life updates. So one of the things, like, you couldn't share like your private treasure troves between characters before, because I don't know, I guess they couldn't do that back in 1999, but now you can. So it's like, other than quality of life things which were basically modded into the game for the majority of players over the last 20 years anyway, it just looks gorgeous. It's going to run at 60 FPS up to 4K. Honestly, it was just so nice to see that game rendered so beautifully.
Oh, so, wonderful, man.
Yeah, you've got about 18 months before I'm lost.
Before you disappear. It's what's it being launched on?
Everything.
Oh, nice.
So Diablo 2 was notoriously just a PC game, but since then, Diablo 3's come out on the Switch and stuff like that, and it's played really well on the PlayStation, to say that I predominantly I had it on PC before that.
Yeah.
So Diablo 2 it's coming out on all of the consoles, including the Switch.
Oh, nice.
So I'll have it twice. It is the sort of game I will buy on the PC for what I would consider the optimal experience, and then have on the Switch, because I'm going to get Diablo 2 on the Switch. But yeah, it's coming out on everything, which is fantastic.
Nice. So if I buy it on one of those, I'll be able to play it with you and tell you it's rubbish, right?
Your opinion will be in the wind, but yeah.
Rubbish, fuck you.
Rich has left the chat.
Yeah. So, I like to watch Mythical Kitchen on YouTube, where, I don't know if you watch that, but it's...
Is it Rhett and Link's thing?
It's Rhett and Link's chef, who does all their sort of weird and wacky food. He has his own... And the guy's just got great energy. His name's Josh. If you wanting something weird and wacky to watch, just watch him just for his energy alone. He makes good looking food, but he's just a wacky dude. One of his offhand comments, because he was doing something with the sort of younger guy this week, and he was talking about like 360 no scoping and stuff like this, and he's like, I have no idea what the hell you're on about. And he talked about like how he used to play FPSs and stuff, and he had his gamer tag, and his gamer tag was Hebrew Hammer, which I thought was a massive miss for yourself, and B, like, it made me think about like gamer tags. Like, I've never known or never asked you where like Rich Mighty came from, and I never told the story of why Batman Sid is my gamer tag. So it made me think we don't ask each other a lot of stuff because we just sort of take it in as information and store it. But I've never asked why Rich Mighty. So. Oh,
okay. I mean, first of all, that's really cool. Hebrew Hammer. I think that's a film. I think that's from a film that came out in like the 90s or the noughties, early noughties. Yeah, there's definitely a film called The Hebrew Hammer.
You missed out on Hebrew Hammer, didn't you, buddy?
I did, mate. Like, I wish I was wittier when I was like 7. So, because but to be fair, I've had Rich Mighty since I was about 6 or 7 years old. It was maybe younger. Basically, actually, this is really relevant to what we just spoke about, because it was first used when I started playing Diablo 2.
Oh, right, okay.
I named maybe the second character I think I ever made on it. I named a sorceress Rich Mighty, and all in capitals. I don't really know where it came from. Obviously, Rich is derived from my name, but I think just as a 6-year-old, like, mighty was a cool word, and it just sounded nice, like Rich Mighty.
Okay.
So it just sounded cool to me, and it just stuck. Before then, I used to go by the name because no surprise, my dad came up with this, but it was Who Cares. So that was my birth given username.
Oh man, can you imagine if we get to a point in society where we have to start registering gamer tags when we do birth certificates?
Well, that would be mine, because that's the one that was on all my accounts before I was old enough to come up with my own. Who cares? In fact, my dad's was Remaster It, so he'd be pretty happy right now with the news.
Yeah.
I haven't told him. But I eventually got rid of all the capitals and the hyphen, and it's just it's a simple question. If you ever want to find out if I'm on a particular website or anything like that, just search for the username Rich Mighty. If it doesn't come up, I'm not there.
If you can't, because I'm very much this way. If you can't put like your gamer tag on a game, do you play the game? Because I don't. If I
No.
can't have my gamer, I don't.
I've never had it though. I've never had an instance where it's been taken.
No, fortunately, there's not many young people called Sid, so I never really seem to
That's
struggle.
it. It's like I've had a couple scares where I've like gone to create the account. It's told me it's already created. It's already a username, and then it
You've
just
already
turns out.
created
Yeah, I created an account like 6 years ago and it was something.
Yeah, I've had that too.
I'm very fortunate in that this name is actually quite unique. But, I
Nice.
guess if it did happen, I'd put a hyphen in it again, and then if that didn't take, it's not a good enough game for me.
Yeah, the game's not made for you.
Won't be playing Diablo
an
2
imposter.
remastered.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to be signing up as Rich Mighty as soon as I can.
No, you're right. It's an odd thing where you do find out such almost basic information about people that you just never delve into because it's just you find it out so nonchalantly. But yeah. So where's Batman Sid from then?
Well, there's a story, and it's not a great story, but it just sort of just proves how poor my sense of humour is, and why it's sort of stuck. So, I'm obviously quite an adamant Batman enthusiast. Always have been since being a kid. You know, really like Batman. But so one of my pre-Xbox times, MSN, MySpace times. That's how far back we're going. My girlfriend at the time, we had an actual telephone conversation, landline telephone conversation. So this shit's old. And sort of talking to her, and I was just like, right, okay, this relationship's going really well, but I've got something I need to tell you. I like to wear like spandex and go downtown late at evening and rough play with boys. And I'm like 15, 16 at the time. And I was like, and sometimes it gets a little bit, there's definitely bondage at some point, and, this horrified young girl, just, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, I'm Batman. Just, there's obviously, it's not even funny, but the fact that I thought that was funny enough to like share with her and to be so serious about. It's sort of, and for a fact that's outlined my entire sense of humour for the rest of my life.
And we don't know that you're not the Batman.
You never seen in the same room as me, do you? That's the thing.
Not once.
I mean, I probably would have looked better in spandex back then than I do now, but but yeah. Batman Sid became my MySpace username, and because it was my MySpace username, it was my MSN username. Because it was my MSN username, it was my first Xbox username, and that's it. And that's just how it's everything. I don't. Again, if I can't have Batman Sid, I don't play the game. So
yeah, that's it. It does. I'm glad you have a very similar or identical connection with your username, because it's the name you choose for yourself. It's very much part of your identity. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I just thought it was one of those things you never talk about it, and it's like, one of the things we're getting to do with this is because we are just having conversations. We get to be able to go, oh, I don't know this about Rich, so I can note that down. I can just ask him.
Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, I like that. See, they are my favourite kind of conversations. Unfortunately, I don't think I've ever come up with one, and I'm going to try now, and I'm just going to struggle. But I'm really glad
because you've got no interest in me beyond what I tell you.
I just don't care, mate. I just don't care.
Yeah, that's it. You're just not invested.
You're just an object to me.
A sexual object.
A long distance sexual object. But yeah, you do. You take a lot for granted, in the sense of you know so much about somebody, but you never question why that's the thing. You never get the chance. You never take the time. Yeah.
Plus, as well, the Hebrew Hamer. Man, you missed out on that so hard.
Dude, the Hebrew Hamer would be so sick. Well, back then I was quite self-conscious about being Jewish and everything. Like at school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at that age, like primary school era, like people don't really understand. So if you're just a little bit different and there's nobody around you that you can relate that difference to, you can feel very isolated. And I didn't want to give anybody an excuse to. Sort of, I was a little bit more self-conscious about it. Like I wouldn't not that I wouldn't tell people, but I wouldn't make a joke about it just in case it spiraled. But
yeah, I think that's where me and you differ, because like I was different anyway. I was 6'4" at like year 8. Had long black hair and black eyeliner. I was different. I wasn't making any attempts to fit in.
You dare somebody to make a joke.
Yeah.
Nowadays, yeah, I'd love that. I'd absolutely love to take that username. There you go. That'd be my backup if the hyphen doesn't work. I'd just go for Hebrew Hammer. Hebrew Hammer. Yeah, I do definitely prefer your method of conversational topics, of that idea of like putting a scope on the certain things you might have taken for granted. Mine's much more broad, much more hypothetical. I don't want to say generic, but because I do really find these sort of topics interesting. Like the desert island one you brought last week. Yeah. Mine's more in line with like that, where
cool.
There's a scenario that's happened. How would you? Because I find that really fascinating.
Dude, I'm just enjoying. I enjoy this all, man. I think the thing is, I'm thinking about you when we're not doing it in that time. I find myself thinking about you, especially when I'm not edited. I think about you even more because I'm not getting to like do the editing process.
Yeah.
So it's like I'll just be sat on the sofa with Rizzy, like I'm gonna speak to Rich about that, and I'm just like not even talking to my wife.
I found myself in conversations with Sarah, and she'll say something. I'll be like, I'll say something to her, and I'll be like, "Oh, Sid, I'd love to hear that. I'm just gonna this podcast topic." It's the gist is you've just won an exorbitant amount of money. You never need to work again in your life for income basis. Like, what do you do? Like, do you continue to work? Do you put where do you put the money? What's your priority list? Right, like money is no longer an object.
Yeah, I have actually thought about this quite a lot. You know.
Yeah.
I have thought about this because I think I use it as like I don't like feeling trapped, and one of the ways a lot of people feel trapped in their lives is by finances sort of getting them down. You know.
Yeah.
I was once in a career I really didn't like, and didn't align with my ethics, because I financially needed to be in that career, and I made a decision not to. Just forget it. I'll deal with the financial burden, and I just don't want to do this every day in, day out. So that led me to the career I'm in now, and I am very happy doing the career I'm in now every day in, day out. I enjoy my job.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm actually a fortunate person that can say that I genuinely love my job. This is why I thought about it, because I don't want to feel trapped, and every now and then when you have a bad day, and they do happen, it's alright to love your job, but just like you love your wife, but every now and then you're gonna have arguments, there's no such thing as perfect. So although I love my job, every now and then you have a bad day and you think, well, if I had unlimited resources, would I still do this job? And the answer is I would. I would still work. And it sounds silly that people are like, oh no, but like, what the fuck else am I going to do? As previously mentioned, I'm not handy. I can't, if I had more money, all I would do is spend it on the house and make sure the environment my kids grow up in gets even better all the time.
Yes.
So even as much as like, well, all I'd do is, let's say I didn't do my job for the people I work for now, I would probably still just do my job, but like as a consultant, and maybe own my own studio and do it that way, but I would still do the same job, so I would still work. But I don't need anything. I've got everything I need. I've got a car, I've got a house, got a family, got the guitars I want. Nearly all. I mean, I say nearly all. There's a really high statistic, and I forget what it is, but a high percentage of the people that win the lottery go bankrupt
or kill themselves.
Yeah. There's this idea that people tend to try and define their meaning by the thing they want the most, and when they obtain it, it's not good enough because it doesn't fill that void, that spiritual void. So they want something else, and the more you do that, the more depressed you become. I think there's things I'd like to achieve, there's things I'd like to work towards, but I wake up most days and I'm pretty fucking content with what I've got, and I think that's something you have to maybe intellectualize or search for, but if you start chasing that dragon, and especially if you win the lottery, because you've got the resources to chase it all the way to the end of the fucking earth, quite literally, I don't think I'd let it change me. I think what it would do is, I think it would allow me to stabilize some people around me that matter, and make sure my kids got everything they needed, and not everything they wanted. That's the other thing, not everything they wanted, but everything they needed.
I 100% agree with literally every single word you just said. This might not be the most interesting thing now. It's just two guys agreeing with each other. I do want more out of my career long term, but at the place in my life where I'm at now and what I do for a living and what that brings in for me, I am content. I am very happy with my job, and I would not quit that job if I no longer needed it to sustain my income. Like I wouldn't. Adding on to the obviously the fact that I just enjoy what I do, but a job gives you a purpose. I think it's very easy, particularly if you're not in a job that you are passionate about or enjoy, but it's very easy to take for granted the fact that work gives you a structure to your day. It gives you a reason to be up in the morning and out and back in the evening. And something I was furloughed for a little bit of time last year, and while I'm incredibly grateful that I'm in a place that was able to support me during furlough, and it just 100% highlighted how integral the work hours are to my schedule, to what I do with myself. And like the free time was great, don't get me wrong, but after a while it feels a bit empty. Like, because one thing I don't think many people realise, and I certainly didn't, and that is that the free time has that special feeling because you feel like you've earned it through work. Yeah. Just because I'm no longer earning to sustain my income because I don't need money doesn't mean I'm not working for other reasons. Like, because once I've put in those hours, once I've done something for somebody that's not me, for the company I work for the people around me, I can take a deeper appreciation of the time I spend away from that. I think without work, a lot of what we do in our free time loses its meaning. It loses its value.
I think it's dangerous. I think, we're both people who enjoy video games. We're both people who enjoy watching movies and stuff like that. So if you do that to relax, that's fine. But when you find, and I feel this by Sunday sometimes, if you're waking up in the morning and you're thinking, right, I need to relax, I need to sit down and play a video game on a Sunday morning, like, fair enough, like people, if you want to, you spend your free time however you want to spend it, but for me, that's when I start climbing the walls, because if I've not got something to set my mind to, my mind it doesn't stop. Even to go to sleep, it's difficult, man. I don't sleep very many hours. I wake up ready to go. I'm fine when I'm burnt out. When I'm burnt out, I need to relax, that's great. But when I'm not burnt out, if I've got nothing to do, it's just dangerous. I just feel empty. I would
be the same. Like, it gets to that Sunday and I'd be like, I don't want to be indoors. I don't want to be just watching telly. Especially if I had more resources at my disposal. I would want to be out and about. I would want to be exploring new things, starting new projects, like constantly striving towards something new. Just because I don't need to get money in my bank account anymore doesn't mean I don't want to do other things in my life.
I thought of something I would do.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I think I would take 6 months to a year's break from work. And the only reason I would do it is I would spend those 6 to 12 months just focusing on getting in shape. Like, my job would be to sort out my health. Because I don't have that luxury at the minute, I don't have luxury to dedicate every day to getting in shape. But I think if financially I didn't have to be responsible for, keeping the bills paid and stuff like that, I think I would make my job getting my body sorted out.
It's a very interesting take. And what's the point in having all this money if you've state that you can't enjoy it, right?
And I suppose when you think about it like that, and especially I say no one ever wants to feel trapped, maybe there is an element of that actually. Maybe that should be a focus for me in my life. But when you think about how your time's divided, and that's why I said I probably wouldn't work the same amount of hours I work now, because the way my time is divided, it's heavily focused on work. I'm not the sort of person who puts it down at 5 o'clock and then just say I'm done. If I've got something to do, I get that job done, and I'll stay there until it's done. And I'll start, especially when I'm working from home, I'll wake up at 6 and I'll just go and turn the computer on, because I'm up and I'm something to do. I'm a little bit work focused, I know that, so I think that's what I would, if financially I didn't have to worry about that, I think I would just focus on my health. And maybe I need to start doing a bit of meditating on how I can strike a balance in my regular life with that. He says when I've got a large pizza next to me.
I also agree with what you say in regards to kids. Like, I'd by no means spoil Oliver. I'd make sure he'd never have to worry about anything in his life, but he's not getting money to spend on his own, if that makes sense. No more money than he would get independently had I not just won the lottery or bought GameStop. So
I think it's important to say I mean, some people will probably argue that I spoil my daughter. anyway. If she takes an interest in it, she has the best available resources to see that interest through. That's my logic. And it's never, oh, you're interested in LOL surprise dolls, I'm going to go buy you every LOL surprise. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need that shit. That's not important. But if you're going to take interest in guitar, I'll get you, and it's not her guitar as far as she's aware, but like, you know, I will get you a guitar that you're not going to have any physical obstacles in the way of learning this guitar. This guitar will be the most comfortable, well-made guitar that you can get without it being a stupid amount of money. But I'm not going to buy a cheap guitar because I personally know the obstacles of learning on a cheap guitar. So I'd like to be able to remove that for her. And it's that sort of thing where it's like, well, if she wants some shoes, I'm going to buy her the best pair of shoes I can think for her. Bear in mind, for my daughter, I actually buy cheap shoes because she eats them, I think. They just no matter what shoes you buy that girl, she just eats them. I'm not opposed to spending money on my daughter. I just spend it in a sensible way to make sure she has the best resources available.
And the process in which she acquires whatever the material goods are that you buy for her is completely different. Like, if she gets a guitar, she's not getting a guitar because she specifically was like, Daddy, I want a guitar. She's getting a guitar because she showed a natural passion for playing guitar, and you understand that by getting her a guitar is the best way of enabling her to enjoy that passion. Like, it's 2 steps removed from it all. It's a completely different process. It's not like she's walking past a guitar shop and says, I want that one. She just wants to learn.
That's the wonderful thing about my daughter. She's not that kid. She's not the kid that even wants anything. Like, she's the sort of kid who's like, what do you want for Christmas? And she'll say one item, and that's it. She'll never be like, I want all these things. But like, you know, my wife likes to spoil her at Christmas, so I'm always very aware that when it comes to Christmas, it's not for the kids. It's so my wife can watch the kids open up all these things and be excited about it.
But that's its own little joy in itself as well. And,
and
Christmas is. But that's it. I wouldn't want Oliver to feel like he's entitled to anything. He's never gonna have to worry about anything. But that's not the same. Like, he's still gonna have to get a job. He's still gonna have to pay his dues, right? Like,
oh, absolutely, yeah. Get that work ethic in there.
Exactly. I'd be very mindful about that. Okay. Did you want to do any more topics, or? Well,
there's 2 things I wanted to talk about. I really wanted to talk about this week, and so the first one is we got some news this week. We know when the vlogs can start again.
Yes, Boris announced he's going to Magaluf in July, so we're all available. We're all able to.
Exactly. We just got funding for a second season.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that news, I was like, I'm surprised it took me this long to say it, but you know, season 2 coming this summer. But yeah, man, I'm so fucking excited. Season 2 finale, Australia trip.
You know that's gonna have no context.
The non-context 2 weeks in Australia trip. Just never give any context to it.
Just the same, but we do it under the same pretenses that we did Amsterdam. We just pull a bunch of countries out of a hat and fly there that day.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're going to East Midlands Airport. These are the places we can go. Roll the dice.
That's what we would do if we won the lottery. We'd just have a slightly higher budget for our next season.
Just pay an editor.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't offhand it.
No, I would.
What?
You know why? Yeah, because you know why? Because if let's say we had unlimited funds, right, and we just wanted to do this for like our own little time capsule. Imagine the amount of videos we could make if we had unlimited funds and we didn't have to edit them.
Just sent it off to an editing sweatshop.
No, I know some good editors. I would hire people I knew so that gave them a job working from home and stuff like that. Like,
then we'd both get to cozy up on a Friday night or whenever it is and watch it fresh together.
And watch how my bunch of mates editors have butchered it. I say bunch of mates. I know one good editor.
Just spend the time either laughing at ourselves or bitching about how it wasn't edited how we intended it to be edited when we shot it.
Oh no, he would do a great job, I'm sure.
But I am very excited for season 2.
I'm excited to win the lottery now.
Do you play?
No, I probably should start.
Yeah,
so that we can get season 2 really going up for a good way.
It's a crucial part of winning is to play. I play the Euro Millions. Maybe this Tuesday will be my Tuesday.
I might start playing with the sheer vouch that if we win, we are going to make more videos than anyone ever asked for, which is none. So
this is our pledge. We win the lottery.
And I spend my time, traveling the world with my best friend.
Hell
I'll be fine with that. So we had the date, and
yes.
I'm so excited. Lottery or not, I'm excited.
Yeah, we finally got a light at the end of the tunnel. I hope we don't rush it. To be fair, I really hope we just we get there at a sensible pace. The last thing I want is for us to come out of lockdown and end up with the prospects of another one, because it's just.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the release schedule of the vlogs.
Mate, no, we're going hard. We're going hard, mate.
I think we bank a couple, and then we just make sure we don't have to be. Because I'd like to keep the podcast going as well. So I'd like, and the podcast is a weekly editing exercise because of the release schedule.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to bank a couple of vlogs and edit them.
We do more in lieu, and the podcast is more topical to the world around it, slightly more, I guess, than the vlogs would be. The vlogs, for the most part, are just us going to places and dicking around. So, like, we have an episode we haven't aired from almost 2 years ago, and I'm sure when we put it up, it'll probably look like it was recorded a month ago.
Oh, I mean, it essentially is me and you made the Blair Witch Project. So
yeah, it's just us in the woods. It's nothing we.
Well, I love it, but I keep talking about it but it'll go out. It definitely will go out. But I said I think when we started this that I wanted to give it some more time before I launched that episode because
it'll be a feature length trailer for season 2.
For season 2. Like we've aged a little, but it's like on that note of we've got an end in sight. As I mentioned, Tony rang me, and he is really in love with the idea of doing a food challenge.
I'm not going to win that challenge.
I'm not sure I'm going to win against Tony, if I'm honest. I mean, I wasn't worried about you, but Tony can.
No, that man is a champion when it comes to clearing a plate. I would be down for it though.
I think the guy breathes through his arsehole while he eats. If I'm honest. It is incredible. So
there's food on the plate. Mark him a 0.
Yes, you guys, you fucking amateurs. He's there just smashing burgers.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. What I'm sure will be a stupid long list by the time we get to actually enact it. Just list of ideas.
Yeah, man. Well, we've got Australia out of this week, so
Australia is a step up from paintballing.
I best put that lottery on. I've got other topics, but I think I'm going to hold on to them.
Yeah, keep them in the bank. I'm out of topics.
Yeah,
I am. I mean, week to week topicing. So.
Let's keep it in the bank and let's hit the spoiler button.
All right, spoiler alert.
Spoilers from here on out. I want to say one thing before we get into the spoilers for WandaVision. Right, I want to say one thing. Do you remember last week when I was like, I'm pretty sure the fucking person who's making WandaVision is just fucking with us. He's like waiting to what we say, and he's just fucking with us in a few days' time. Oh my god!
So I was right.
Fucked us, bro. Absolutely fucked us.
Fucking knew it. I knew it. I knew something was not right with that lady.
Yeah,
it was all it was a trick and a trap the week before. She was playing us for fools.
It was a wonderful realization of the stupid shit we say on this podcast when I saw that she was playing us. I was like, director's just doing it to fuck with us.
It was just a really good reveal as well. Like the whole sequence was fantastic. The song's catchy as anything and very in line with everything we've seen so far.
I tell you what, I'm actually most excited about the fact that Rambo gets powers. Clearly gets superpowers, and in line with everything that comes from like the MCU, like cosmic energy can give you superpowers. It's why the Fantastic Four are the way they are. Mm-hmm. It's, like cosmic energy is this thing; it can give you superpowers, and it changed the physiological. But just seeing her be like boom, and I'm like, oh man, that's so cool.
It was a really cool moment. Like this episode built up so much for tomorrow's episode. Like, I think tomorrow's episode is where it's gonna go down.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It was just through and through just a great episode, and getting that big reveal, like, because I'm sure a lot of people were more aware. Like, if you take the comics into account, like this, I mean, I'm sure it was no secret. But one thing I've been going through very consciously in my head is that I'm not going to take things from the comics into account. I'm not going to even watch the trailers. Like, I'm going into this as a completely fresh story where anything can happen. And I'm so glad I am, because when a reveal like that happens, I was genuinely surprised. I was genuinely excited because it felt fresh.
I want to talk about something else about it as well. That I was
Yeah.
like, I was dead. I was dying to talk about it. I wanted to ring you. So we've been talking every week about the tone, and like this time we hit the mockumentary. We hit The Office, Parks and Recreation,
Modern Family. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I loved it so much. I even loved it, like, whilst trying to escape the sitcom. Vision's still adhering to it. He's still outside.
Why am I here?
It was so good.
Oh man. It's just mega. It's so good. It's such a good episode, and as soon as it finished, I'm like, I'm dying for next week, you know.
Yes. Did you see the post-credits scene?
I didn't even realise there's a post-credit scene.
Oh, buddy. Do you want to like just quickly YouTube the post-credit scene and then come back to me? Genuinely, it was by accident, because I watch it with my parents now. So we were just... So whereas I'd normally, if I was just watching it on my own, just tab out of Disney Plus, we had it on the telly, so we just sort of sat chatting about it while the credits rolled, and then suddenly a scene came on, which made me then go back to several other episodes to check, and this is the only one that has a post-credit scene.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of big.
He was a spy.
Was he a spy?
Well, he's kind of working for the enemy, isn't he?
Well, I don't know. In Agatha's little reveal sequence, she's controlling him at the door. So
yeah,
I think Agatha's brought him in.
But this whole "she's in our head" thing, man.
Yeah, that had water, that had weight. I can't believe it. I can't believe
and
that was.
Remember the thing that disproved it was that she said Wanda.
Yes. Thank you, Marvel. I got something right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I didn't even realise that. But yeah, the only thing disproving it was her. Yeah. I still think Quicksilver's the Quicksilver from X-Men. I do genuinely still think she's brought him in. And hopefully, like, him going missing is what might bring the rest of the X-Men in. But I don't know.
I hope it's a snap. I hope it was a snap that brought back people that they didn't know about. You know what I mean? Or brought them from a different dimension or something. Some people got through or something like that. Because that could set up some really cool stuff for, like, the rest of the MCU. Like, some people got through, gives the opportunity for bad guys that we've never encountered to come through and play a role.
There's 2 episodes left, and I think they're both just going to be non-stop. I think they're supposed to be really long as well. I think you said last week that.
Well, I'm watching the State of Play at 10. I might stay up till 12, and I might watch, this week's episode. And speaking about episodes.
Wait, are you segueing? I was.
I'm saying this might have been an episode.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say I didn't realise it finished. I didn't realise it aired at 12 tonight.
I'm pretty sure it does. I'm pretty sure it just hits as soon as it hits Friday. Oh, comes out at 8 a.m.
Oh, what, tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Oh well, tomorrow night then. Well, speaking of episodes. Fucking reading my amazing segue.
Such a good segue as well.
I think this has been an episode, Rich.
Speaking of episodes, this has been an episode, Sid, yeah.
Speaking of episodes. I love you long time, dude.
I love you a long time too, buddy. See you next week.
I'll see you next week. Oh my god.